I think another thing that has been such a contributor to where I am today is my community. And we forget that our community is everything. The people that you surround yourself with are the people that you become. Hello, welcome to Authentically Aligned, a wellness podcast where we speak on all things wellness, from fitness and nutrition to meditation and mindfulness, healing, growth, self-help, and so much more. If you are a new listener, welcome to the podcast. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for your love and support. And I want you to know that I'm sending you that same love and support right back. It has been a minute since we've had a podcast episode, since I've been on the mic. I have been really busy, really exciting things, really great things, but I want to share with you a little bit about why I haven't been on the mic and also share with you the things that I have been up to. So I just hosted another one of my wellness retreats up in Malibu, and it was such a beautiful day of community, of healing, of challenges, of pouring into ourselves. And I just can't express enough the gratitude that I have for everybody who made the day possible, everybody who showed up to do the work on themselves and was willing to spend a day with me and trust me to hold space and create a space of a beautiful community and a healing environment. So as I finished the retreat, of course, I was able to sit and spend some time reflecting. And that is one of my favorite things to do after the end of an event, after the end of something that I have worked so hard on, is to reflect. And the first thing that was so beautiful was to think back on the first retreat that I hosted versus the retreat that I just recently hosted and see how much growth has happened, how the retreat has expanded, how it's gotten bigger, how it's gotten better, and to really celebrate that. And then the second thing was being able to reflect on the process. So today, what I would like to talk about is trusting the process and how important it is to trust your process in anything that you are going through, trying to achieve, whether that's career, whether that's relationship, whether that's personally, and really just allowing and surrendering. But with that, at the end of the retreat, I was able to take that evening and, of course, have a celebratory glass of wine and sit and converse with one of my best friends about the process of everything. And not the process of hosting this specific retreat, but the process of where I started and where I am now. And having a moment where I was reminded that every single thing that I have been through in life until this point has brought me exactly to the place of being able to host this retreat, being able to have the facilitators there that I did, having the community there that I did, and recognizing that no matter any of the setbacks that I went through, and this could be going all the way back to when I first moved here and I was pursuing a career in the dance industry. And every setback, everything that I experienced propelled me forward to this exact moment. And it was such a cool reminder because I think that everybody experiences this. Everybody experiences a process of if this wouldn't have happened, then this wouldn't have happened. And if this wouldn't have happened, then this wouldn't have happened. And if I wouldn't have met this person, or if I wouldn't have been here at this time, then I wouldn't have met this person. And then I wouldn't have been here in order to meet this person. And I think it's so important for us to reflect on all of those moments, because oftentimes we find our setbacks or challenges as in the moment, they're such terrible things, but really our setbacks are exactly what propels us forward. It's just like a slingshot. You have to, in order to get the momentum to push forward, you have to pull the slingshot back so that it has the momentum to be sent forward. And this was just such a beautiful reminder for me that everything happens for a reason. Being able to reflect and take things back step by step by step by step to exactly what brought me to the space I'm in today. And I think that number one, it wasn't only for everything that brought me to the retreat, but it was everything that brought me to the version of myself that I needed to be in order to share an experience with somebody, or create an environment for somebody, or curate this space and have this community of people who are like-minded, who are on the same path, who are on the same frequency, who want better for themselves. And to reminisce on all of these moments in my life that have gotten me to this space that I'm in today has been such a blessing and such a beautiful thing for me to look back on. I think another thing that has been such a contributor to where I am today is my community. And we forget that our community is everything. The people that you surround yourself with are the people that you become most alike. So finding those people who are going to support you, who are going to show up for you just as you do for them, who are going to encourage you, who are going to have unconditional love for you. They're not going to judge you. They understand that it is a process. We all go through a process in order to grow, in order to elevate, in order to be where we want to be. And having the people around you who have understanding of that and still continue to support you is such a key component in your journey and in trusting the process. Right before I came to film this today, I was so blessed to go to this community event, and it was sponsored by Lululemon, and it was hosted by one of my favorite yoga instructors in the area. And I had this moment when we were in this meditative practice where I could have shed tears, because I was thinking about how beautiful it is that I have such a wonderful community around me. And I know that I'm going to show up for my community, and my community is going to reciprocate and show up for me just the same as I do for them. And having an environment where I know that I am able to thrive, I am able to be my best self, I am able to make mistakes, I am able to surrender to the journey, it leaves me with such a sense of peace. And I think that when you are in a space, when you put yourself in a space that is conducive to all of these things, that is when you're able to create a sense of peace. That is when you're able to surrender. And that is when you're able to really trust the process, trust the things that God has in store for your life. I think that so often we can be consumed by the idea of not being good enough, or not being ready, or not being where we'd like to be in order to take steps forward. And we're never ready to take those steps forward. If you wait until you're ready, the likelihood of you even stepping into that role is so slim. And I think that it's important to, like I said, have faith in yourself, have faith in the process, and understand that I don't care who it is that you see that is successful, that is doing the things that you would like to do, that is where you would like to be. They all had a process. There was a process in getting to where they needed to be. And a lot of times, I don't think that that is something that is shown to us. We don't get to see the process of somebody else. We see the accomplishments, the achievements, the success. But remembering that trusting the process is part of being present. It's part of enjoying the process and understanding that, yes, in this moment, you may be struggling. You may be learning something new. You may be attaining a new skill. You may be fixing your habits. But as you are doing this, you also have to remember that you will never be that version of yourself again. So loving that version of yourself, showing that version of yourself that you're proud, showing that version of yourself grace, and seeing the beauty in that version of yourself, because if that version of yourself didn't exist, you wouldn't be able to move into this next version of yourself. And continuing to allow that. Trusting the process requires you to have faith. It requires you to have faith in yourself. It requires you to have faith in your discernment. And it requires you to have faith in God and knowing that God has a plan for your life, and you never know what one simple task or going to one place or introducing yourself to one person is going to bring to your life. And when you're able to have an open mind and you're able to have a vision, have a goal, but trust that the process isn't always going to look the way that you thought it was going to look. A lot of times we create this vision and then we're going to have step A, step B, step C, step D, and then essentially we're going to reach this goal. But if you were to really write out a plan like that and document or take note of the way that the plan actually goes, or the connections that actually help to make this happen, or the series of events that happen in order for this to happen, the likelihood of it being completely different than the plan that you set is huge. So being able to surrender and embrace every moment, knowing that as long as you are working toward becoming better yourself, as long as you are propelling yourself forward, then trusting the setbacks that happen. The setbacks are bound to happen. They're supposed to happen. So when you experience these setbacks, you can take the time to dwell. You can take time to feel sorry for yourself. You can take time to sulk in it. You can take time to feel like things aren't going your way. But I think that a setback is the biggest indicator that things are going your way, that you are being put through a situation in order to propel you forward. And how do you handle that situation? But the question is, how do you show up as you are trusting the process? What is your posture? What is your demeanor? If you think of it like you are waiting in line at the grocery store to buy all of these items, or maybe not even at the grocery store, you're waiting in line at wherever you shop to buy all of these items that you're excited about. But you know that once you get to the register, you're going to have everything that you desire. Now, if you apply that to your life and you trust in the process and you know that you are going to have everything that your heart desires plus some, how do you show up to wait? What is your posture like when you're waiting? Are you waiting anxiously? Are you waiting nervously, like all of this is going to be ripped out of your hands at the blink of an eye? Or are you showing up in a way that you are calm, you are collected, you are connected to yourself, you're grounded, you have peace because you have faith, knowing that when you get to the end of that waiting moment, you're going to have everything that you absolutely want. And I think that until we are able to use those setbacks, use the time of waiting, using the time in trusting the process to show up in the way that you would like to, show up as the healed version of yourself, show up as the patient version of yourself, show up as the person of yourself that doesn't have anxiety, show up as the version of yourself that has trust for themselves, that knows that their discernment is going to carry them through to all of the bigger and better things. And when you're able to show up in that way, number one, the things that you are desiring are going to come to you so much faster. But your life is also going to have such a peace surrounding it. If at every moment that you experience a setback or something doesn't go your way, you take it personally, or you get heated, or you get frustrated, or you give up, or you set the project down for 3 months because it didn't go the way that you wanted it to, is that showing up as the best version of yourself? Is that trusting the process? Or is trusting the process experiencing a setback, experiencing a challenge, taking a deep breath, and understanding, surrendering to the moment and appreciating that moment for what it is? Maybe your car breaks down. Maybe you lose your job. Maybe you have to move to another city. Trusting and surrendering in that process and recognizing that the control that you would like to have, it just doesn't exist. And I think that the more that you grasp onto this sense of control, the tighter you hold your reins, the more challenging your life is going to be and the longer it's going to take for you to get to your destination. I've absolutely said this before, but if something is not meant for you, God is going to show you. And if you don't listen the first time, He's going to show you again. And if you don't listen the second, third, fourth time, He's going to continue to show you. And each time, the challenges are going to get harder. It's going to get more painful. And the healing that you're going to have to do after the fact is going to be so much more. But if you're able to listen to that little voice inside of your head, maybe it's not the first time, but maybe it's the second time of like, okay, I've been here before. I've seen this before. Do I want to repeat this again? Do I want to wait until the circumstances get worse? Somebody shared something with me the other day, and it was so beautiful because it's this exact same concept about trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, listening to God, listening to yourself, listening to your gut. But if you just listen when you're given these whispers, you don't have to wait for the roar. Take the time to self-reflect. Take the time to be so self-aware, to be so observant that you recognize when you're receiving these signals from God. He's going to challenge you. He's going to continue to challenge you. But I promise He's going to just give you a little nudge. The first few times, He's just giving you a little nudge to say, hey, I don't think this is right for you. And then He's going to get louder. And then He's going to get louder. And then He's going to get louder the more and more you continue to not listen. So Allowing yourself the space, the time. This is why meditation is so important. This is why being in solitude is so important. This is why taking care of yourself is so important. Taking the time to slow down, because if you're constantly rushing and running from one place to another and keeping yourself busy and keeping your mind busy and keeping yourself distracted, you make it almost impossible to hear the signs from God, to hear those little whispers, to hear your intuition, to hear your gut. You have to create space. You have to create silence in order to hear your intuition, in order to hear God, in order to hear the things that are meant for you. And all of this relates to trusting the process, because if you are unable to trust yourself, how are you supposed to trust the process when you put yourself out into the world, when you have all of these other outside factors? And the amazing, incredible thing about learning to trust yourself is the more that you practice trusting yourself, the better at it that you get. It's just like when you're building a relationship with somebody. It takes time to build that trust. And it takes time for them to say that they're going to be somewhere, that when they say they're going to be somewhere, and then they show up when they say they're going to, and that moment builds trust. But it takes many moments like that to deem somebody trustworthy. And the same goes for the trust within yourself. You have to show up for yourself. You have to listen to yourself. And when you do and you reap the benefit, that's another point in your trust jar. And then you do it again, and that's another point. And then you do it again and again, and that's another 2 points. And before you know it, your trust for yourself, your trust for God, your trust in your discernment is overflowing. And that is when all of the processes start to make sense. That is when you're like, wow, okay, I see the picture coming together. I see my vision happening, not anywhere near what I thought it would look like when I started this journey. But now, God, I see you. Now, intuition, I see you, because you knew all along. You were telling me all along, but I had to learn to trust you. Now, don't get me wrong, because there are times that you're going to fail yourself. Your trust is not going to be with yourself what you thought it was. And you're going to have experiences, whether it's with people or situations or jobs, where you're going to have a falling out and you're going to be like, you know what? I knew better. I actually had this gut feeling and I should have known better. But that is another instance of where you just continue to learn to trust yourself, because you are learning. You're learning from the positives. You're learning from the negatives, how to trust yourself, how to have faith in yourself, how to have faith in God. And at the end of the day, you're learning to be able to take your own advice. So often we go to other people. We seek advice from other people, about circumstances, situations. And nobody knows better than you do. So the next time that you decide that you want to reach out to somebody because you're not able to pour into or pull from your trust, take a second, take a beat, reflect inward, think about how you can use your discernment, how you can listen to your intuition, how you can have a moment with God to make a decision or to better understand, rather than reaching out to somebody else who also does not have the answer? Why would you turn to somebody else for an answer that you're seeking about yourself or your circumstances? So as you move through your week this week, I invite you, I encourage you to practice trusting the process. Embrace everything that comes to you. Be grateful for every connection that you may make. Be grateful for every friendship that may end. Take space to yourself. Put yourself in silence so that you have the capacity and the capability to hear God, to hear your intuition, to listen to your own discernment. And as you move through your week and as you continue to move along your journey, trust that everything that is happening is moving you closer to where you desire to be. If you have a dream, if you have an idea, if you have a goal, God put it on your heart for a reason. So as He guides you through life, trust His process. Find peace in the hard times. And show gratitude not only in the good times, but in the hard times as well. I'm sending you so much love and light. I hope that you have a beautiful week ahead. And don't forget, trust your process.